Hello, I'm Dan McGrath.
And I'm Josh Phillips.
And as a team, we write a lot of TV themes.
Here we do.
A lot of light entertainment TV themes for a lot of broadcasters in the UK. The most famous theme we've ever done that you'll probably know if you've ever watched telly in the UK is Strictly Come Dancing. We've been asked a lot recently. Those people have said to us, how did it come about? How did you write it? That kind of stuff. So we thought, stick it down on a bit of video, let you trawl through it, let you spend the next 10, 15, 20 minutes of your life, however long it's going to take us to get through this, finding out that information.
Might even tell you some of the chords and the rhythm and the tempo.
Technical.
Of course, it's down to tempo, a lot of it, the tempo of the tune. If you've got a very fast tempo, you can get a lot done in 30 seconds. You could do an intro, perhaps a middle and an end. With Strictly, it's 95 BPM, isn't it?
Not now, it was, yeah. It was. Now it's 102.
100.
We sped it up for America.
Speed it up a bit. But it has the core elements. It has an intro. It has the equivalent of, I guess, of a verse and a bridge and a chorus and an ending. And they are the hooks that we're talking about, really, aren't they? But that's.
I mean, it is quite slow. 102 is quite slow, funnily enough, isn't it? Because disco's 120 original, traditionally, and now everything's chart-wise is 130 upwards, depending on,
Yeah.
But I think cramming things into 30 seconds, what you learn to do, I think, is you chuck everything into it. Well, we do. We can't help ourselves. We do have a bit of a joke about the fact that there's a chink of light in the track. And we could get a hi-hat in there.
To add to that, of course, we had the luxury at the time of a 35, 40 second theme tune. So often these days, theme tunes are almost just an extended sting, maybe 12, 15 seconds long. So of course, we've got time in Strictly Come Dancing as a piece of music, and the fact that it's a TV theme, to develop it. Hence, it does have a beginning and a middle and a crescendo. They love a crescendo.
Yeah. Luxury, 30 seconds now. Everything's about 7 or 8.
Also, Dan and I tend to write, possibly, not all the time, but certainly over the years, we've found a formula where we will often sit down, probably with me at the piano. Dan's got a great head for melody as well, and he plays a bit of guitar. And we will sit down fundamentally with a piano and still work out with a tempo, perhaps just a click track running.
What is it?
What is it?
Yeah.
And what's the shape of it? But getting the shape is right. I think in the first instance is the shape of it. Does the shape feel right?
Yeah. And what's the story? What is the story for that period of time?
Once it's got a shape, then you can start working with it. I was going to ask Dolly that question. Is she in shot, Dolly? You're in this shot, Dolly? That's why I wasn't not really taking it very seriously at the moment.
We chose Latin. Why did we choose Latin? When we were briefed, we just thought Latin was the way to go, didn't we? We just thought it was an exciting, vibrant style. It was not going to become tiresome, and also I think it gave us scope to throw at it.
It gave it scope to give it a top line without it having to have a vocal. So much pop music these days is just a vocal top line and nothing else. So we chose. It's such an infectious style of music, isn't it? Rhythm.
Yeah. So if we jump over here, we can show you kind of how we came to where we came to. So we started, the first thing we did was we built a tango rhythm, didn't we? We searched up on the net and we kind of pieced together.
Because it's so long ago, there were no loops.
Yeah, we didn't have
tangos in.
There were loops, but we just didn't use loops. We used our own.
Made our own one up.
So that was kind of the first ever thing we came up with. And that formed the basis of the rhythm. We thought, the reason we did that was because we wanted it to be genuine. We wanted it to be something that was born of actual Latin rhythms. I remember that now. So then we started throwing stuff at it to pump it up and give it a bit of balls. So that was the kind of percussion area. There's a few. So you can hear in there's like, timbales all running and stuff like that, to give it a bit of atmosphere. The other very important part of the whole drum process, rhythm process at the time was this shack loop.
Can you solo that, Dan?
Yeah. So this, when we went to Olympic Studios and recorded this, and when we'd finished and came out of the mix, it just didn't sound like it did with a real band on it, or certainly with the band that we used at the time. And some of the things in the demo were just so important to the sound of the track that we ended up putting them all back in because they were just right. It had what they call demo-itis, where the demo sounded that good, that right, that when we tried to do it again, we couldn't recreate it. So this loop, which you can't hear because I haven't. So this loop,
that is so much part of it, isn't it? Yeah, it's so
that
important.
Latin, that drove it. We had a kind of software drummer. That's the most ridiculous rhythm.
Sounds horrible now, but it actually works in the track.
It sounds terrible, but when you stick them all together, as you rightly say, Josh, when you piece all the bits and bobs together, you end up with your rhythm going there. Now, there's lots of, what's the word, sort of whiffle dust over the top, bell trees
Fairy
and stuff
dust,
to give it, fairy dust, thank you, to give it the Saturday night sound. So you've got a bell tree there, reverse cymbals that will take you across the, take you into the junctions.
Which is just B minor, A major, F sharp, major, B minor, with a few other bits in between. But then I started playing a sort of pseudo Latin piano. And I think then Dan might have gotten the guitar and gone, which is a kind of Spanish guitar part, but once it's all put together, and at that point we hadn't got the tune, but we'd got the shape of it. I can still play that fast.
Yeah, you were younger then, weren't you?
Oh, so much.
That's why it's so much quicker.
Yeah, and brighter.
So we then underpin it with a bit of bass, because obviously you need that. Again, not a real, well, it is a real bass player, it's you.
Sample. I'm playing the keyboard, I guess.
Yeah. It gives you the, we'd now start thinking about how we sheen it up and drive it. Yeah. And probably underpin it all again, isn't it? So your strings, again, no real people on the strings. Played by people, but not. With the all-important high string to give it that excitement. The hidden high string.
It's amazing, just that top line, doing hardly anything, can give it such amazing tension, actually. It's giving it tension.
Yeah. They were bought for another show, I think for Shooting Stars or something like that, to do a thing we needed brass on. And then we mapped them into this, and they got thrown in really quickly because we needed them, and then we never changed them. So for years, and even to now, the mapping on them is terrible and all over the place, but we know how it works. So whenever we use these samples, you know, we've kind of learned how to use them, and they've been all over loads of stuff. Certainly Alan Carr and Take Me Out.
The keyboard needs to be that long. Yeah, because some of the fall-offs are up here and some of the mutes are here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost impossible to play in one shot.
Exactly. So we built that into that as quickly as possible, so we had something to use to get this theme going. And yeah, so the brass. Two trumpets. Hide that. Sax.
Trombone. quite a lot of them.
That was interesting when we did it for real with an orchestra. The guy had to play that top note.
Yeah, it wasn't enjoyable.
his
We've
his
written
wig
quite a
was
lot of
doing this as he tried to hit that really high
We've written
note,
quite a lot of stuff on very high trumpets, haven't
which
we?
is why we went back to the Pro Tools in the end and went, no, we better get that off the samples.
Yeah.
And the other important bit of this we see is
Although,
in there,
you know, on the show, one of the trumpet
they do
players,
play it.
he does get right. Simon
Yeah.
Gardner, he gets right up there.
Within those trumpets, we put a muted trumpet, which sounds like this. As you say, it sounds like a 1970s sitcom, doesn't it?
George and Mildred or something.
But it adds that certain sparkle to it. Adds that kind of Latin sheen to the brass.
Yeah,
can hear it,
make a
can't-
difference when it's in. Massive difference when it's in.
It gives it that sound. So that was the brass part. Then we've obviously got some guitars in there as well. Josh played the telly over the top, so we get some of those twangy moments. So again, these all start becoming those bits where we're looking to keep the interest up across the 35 seconds. So it's then adding one note. I don't know why. That may well have ended up as an edit. And these things, of course, these all become earworms. They just sit in your brain.
Well, in fact, in the beds, we've got some of that.
Yeah, it's all
slow, played slowly and
exactly.
attention.
And again, things like the shouts and stuff. If I mute that. The other kind of fairy dust, the things like the shouts of the earworms, the things that you're going to hopefully remember when you hear the show, when you hear the theme go out. So that was me shouting into the mic.
Let's hear you shout.
And then one of those.
All of those parts, if you hear them on their own, sound nothing special. But if you take any one of those parts out, it doesn't sound complete.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
So here it is in its entirety. That's it.
That was it. Yeah. I'm Josh. He's
Dan, thank you
Thanks.
for watching.
Bye.